This is John McAllister, and welcome to the Setting Trick podcast. I'm excited to share my conversation with professional bridge player and friend, Anam Tebha, today. Anam is somebody that I've had the pleasure of playing with before, and is frankly somebody that I would like to play with again. She's got a great attitude. She's a winner, and she loves the game. And I think her story about how she started bridge, I know I've been thinking a lot recently about bringing new people into the game and the opportunity that's before us in these times of people quarantining, and thinking like, what's a good way to introduce new players to the game. And Anam's story is one of just somebody who just had the love for bridge, and so she just made it her priority to go on BridgeBase and play with all sorts of different people. And really, it's a credit to her school in Pakistan where they introduced her. She had a teacher introduce her to the game, and the bridge world is better off having Anam in it. So in these uncertain times, if you've got a way to show bridge to a new face, please share with me what are some good ways to do that, because I think there's a real opportunity here, and I hope that sharing Anam's story with you will help you see ways that we can continue to nurture new players into this amazing game.
You started playing bridge according to our research in as a 16-year-old, so that was 2008 in Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's correct.
Why did you learn how to play bridge?
So my school, it was like an elective essentially, and then we had a teacher and kind of grew from there. It was just like some people took business and whatever, and just happened to be one of the things that we could do with one of the older professors. And my brothers took a year of like mini bridge and decided that I was better than them, so they quit. And at some point, they tried to teach a group of like 50 kids, and they all kind of quit playing, and there were 4 or 5 of us left, and those 4 or 5 are the people that went to the 2008 Olympics mind games. And
you were born in the United States.
Yeah.
And then you moved back to Pakistan for some period of time.
My
with your
parents
family.
wanted to instill culture in me and my siblings. And
so are both your parents Pakistanis?
So I guess it depends on what you consider Pakistani, because my dad is old enough to have been born pre-partition in the India-Pak thing. It was all together. And then my mom was born post-partition.
Yeah.
But, culturally speaking, traditionally speaking, they're Pakistani. But my dad is technically Indian and my mom is technically Pakistani.
And do your parents play bridge?
They do not. They are not impressed with me playing bridge, being very traditional and whatnot.
What did you say? You said they're not?
They're not big fans of me playing bridge either. So they don't play cards, and they don't like that I play cards.
It's funny that you say that, too, given that you just said that they wanted to teach you some culture, and it was in moving back to Pakistan.
That's where I learned my worst habit, according to them.
So they think it's your worst habit.
Right, but because before I played bridge, I was very on top of everything in regards to school and being first in my class, and then I started playing bridge.
That's the thing. Go ahead.
So my college degree that was supposed to take like 3 years took 6 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to med school or grad school or anything, and all of their hopes and dreams just kind of tumbled because of this game.
Wow. Yeah, like I mean, I think this is a great time for people to learn bridge because you can play it online, you can play it at home, you can it's great to get out your competitive juices playing bridge right now. But I also think there's like the underside of bridge. Is it like like your story here? You're like
Yeah, it's like this cave you can like walk into and never come out of. But you know what? I think that's more of a personality defect than anything to do with bridge. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they should be happy I found bridge and not something else. There are worse vices.
Where do you fall in the birth order?
I am 5 of 6, so just robbed of being the baby.
Wow. Gosh, I never knew you even had any siblings.
Well, they don't play bridge, so.
You're living in Charlotte right now. Is that correct?
That's true.
You're living with Kevin Dwyer.
So I moved to Charlotte and I lived with a bunch of bridge players: Julie, Zach, Justin Lal, Christian Jolly, and slowly it all got smaller, evolved, and then it was just Justin. And now I have an apartment and it's usually just me. And sometimes Kevin is there when he's not playing bridge, and sometimes Justin is there when he wants to be there.
Yeah.
So I would say that I live by myself.
Gotcha. But you're quarantining with Katie right now.
Yeah, and he should be so thankful.
You're being facetious?
Yeah, I'm being facetious. It's actually great because I'm not by myself, and now if I have any bridge problems or questions, I have someone to bother, and I don't have to use my phone. It's great. And when I cook, it's not just for me, so I get to cook something new pretty frequently, which gives me something to do. Being quarantined by yourself is not so fun, I think. Just being by yourself for so long, and well, I have the dog, so that's the thing. But it's always good to have someone to talk to.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of my questions. Like, who do you go to for your bridge problems?
Honestly, I go to whoever is available and will answer my questions.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's Joe, sometimes it's Brad, sometimes it's Justin, and I try not to go to anyone too frequently because I don't want to take advantage of having access to them.
Right.
So I tend to ask, like, if I'm playing opponents who are accomplished, great, better than me or whatever. It's always cool to ask whoever's around because bridge is such that you can have something that looks so straightforward but still have so many different opinions on one thing.
Yeah.
So it's always good to get different point of views so you see a larger picture, and something works on one hand, not another. So, and these guys, they play board after board, so they definitely have frequency experience.
Yeah. You got some people who have some informed opinions.
Right. And I mean, so lately in quarantine, I've been playing against and with the Grossacs and all of these people, and everyone's so opinionated. It's interesting to see which opinion survives all of the yelling and the, well, what about this?
You mean you guys are going? Are you guys going over the hands afterwards collectively?
Sometimes collectively, sometimes individually. Just because playing bridge with me sometimes leads to disasters, and we'd like to figure out who done it.
Let's go back to the juniors that you played with in Pakistan.
Okay.
So it was 2008, and you're one of 4 bridge neophytes. You learned bridge. The junior championships were in the summer, I imagine.
It was September.
And when did you learn bridge?
That summer.
So you somehow got to go play in a junior world championships with this team who knew keycard.
Well, it's questionable as to whether I knew keycard, because I'm pretty sure I passed the king asking bid like at least twice that tournament.
Did you guys come in DFL?
We weren't dead last. Maybe like third or fourth from the bottom. I will say I'm sure we beat the USA 1 team. We should check that.
In what, were you under 21?
Under 26.
You beat USA 1 under 26 in like a head-up match or in the stand?
I think so, in the head-up, in the round-robin thing.
Yeah, so in the heads-up match, you beat them?
Well, so not the KO portion, but the round-robin, yeah.
Right. Well, it doesn't sound like you were making the KO portion.
No. Nowhere near, anywhere close to that.
Who was on this USA 1 team?
I didn't know anyone at the time. I'm sure it was some variation of Justin Wall and Kevin Fay, Jason Chu. Maybe it was the USA 2 team. We beat one of them, and that was like the highlight of the whole tournament because, I mean, who would have thought, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's remarkable.
I have so many bridge stories from that tournament, and none of them relate to bridge.
Be careful.
Well, okay, so it's not that weird that I can say that because the bridge was just awful. I'm not even sure you could call it bridge. But we had fun. We met a whole bunch of people. I mean, I got stuck on a floor with a bunch of the USA players.
Yeah. And how long had you been living in Pakistan?
It was a summer thing.
Oh, so you just went to Pakistan for the summer?
We went for summers quite frequently.
Mm.
And the only reason I got to go to China is because there were no players in Pakistan. Like, they just strung together a team, they had money, and they were like, go have fun.
I mean, there's a sweetness to, like, the fact that you ended up winning your first NABC title with Zia.
That's true. That was another really cool story. They, unfortunately for them, got knocked out the first day of the Reisinger, and asked to play with me. So that was awesome. And I told myself going in, based on the team, I was like, if I can't win on this team, I should just give up. And we ended up winning by like 1 imp.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It was a nail biter. We were leading all of the last day, but the lead kind of dwindled as the day went on.
Yeah. And you were playing like you're closing on this team. You're the Yeah,
I was playing with Zia, and we were closing, I guess, is what Sandra Remstead and Frederick Nystrom were on the team. They played, I think, all the boards almost.
Yeah. Did they have a partnership, like pre-existing?
You would have to ask them. I was not in the know on this team.
And so this was Vanita's team. Was she as excited as you were to win?
Yeah, everyone on the team was super excited. But Vanita's pretty mellow. She's low-key, so her excitement was reserved. But she was very happy and enthusiastic about the win, and it was the last event of the Nationals, so it's always good to close with a win. And it was really kind of her to give me the opportunity.
So literally, Zia comes up to you and says, "Hey, Anam, would you like to play in the mixed Swiss?" Or somebody told him that you were free, or like what?
I'm not sure how it all happened. All I know is I got asked to play, and I was not about to say no. It was Billy Miller who came up to me and was like, "So you want to play with Zia?" I was like, "Yes."
So you you had agreed to play on the team already, and Billy came up to you and said, "We've got your partner"?
There was no agreement. I was just loitering around the playing area with no game, and they just got knocked out, and Billy came up to me and he's like, "So do you want to play with Zia?" And I said, "Am I supposed to say no to that? Is this a rhetorical question?" And so then I met up with Zia. He gave me his system notes with it.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Tell me what you want to play out of this." And we met the next day, maybe a couple of hours before we had to play, and discussed our card. And then there we were.
How much of the notes did you play?
We played everything in the notes except his one no trump structure.
Why did you not play the one no trump structure?
He was not playing like a very standard one no trump structure. There were relays after the transfers that had different implications.
Yeah.
So rather than playing a totally artificial relay structure beyond the initial transfers, I decided that probably the best way to not lose was to not have a system disaster. But everything else we played.
And like, was that the first thing you came across? I think one no trump's like pretty close to the top of my system notes. Like, were you immediately like, "Shit, I don't want to play this"? Like, did you when you were playing with Zia, did you feel like you should play some stuff? Like or sounds like you had a good head on your shoulders about like what you were comfortable playing.
So I actually left the one no trump stuff for last because I figured that's probably the most standard thing ever. And I read all the other little agreements about, Jacoby or game tries and slam tries and all this other stuff I read and was fine with. I left the one no trump and the two no trump structure for the last thing because that's the thing I can usually just glance over and be like, okay, I can remember like all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I got a surprise when I read these notes and I was like, And, it was like 5 pages of totally random relays that I was like, let's not do this. But all of the other stuff, the small agreements, little nuanced inferences that were in the notes, all of that we played.
And how did you two play?
It was mostly good. He was a very kind partner to me. And if I was a little bit soft on a board or whatever, could have done better, or we had a weird result, he was nothing but kind. So that helped. The first couple of matches, I was really nervous. But after that, it seemed okay.
You were nervous?
Well, yeah. Like second guessing what I should do, and the standard thing that comes with nerves.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, I'm just gonna do what I do, and it doesn't matter who my partner is. And that was a winning formula for that event.
Did you ever say to Zia, did you ever express your, it sounds like it was a thrill for you. Did you express that to him?
So you've seen me at the bridge table, right?
Yeah.
I look miserable, no matter what. Or as you put it, the one time, I'm very intense.
I don't remember saying that, but I can imagine having said it.
And so I don't think Zia got to see this intense or serious nature that I had because I was so happy that I got asked to be on this team and I was playing with this person that it was probably one of the very few times I looked happy at a bridge table.
Did you, what did your parents say when you won this event?
They didn't think it was a big deal. They don't really know much about bridge, so to them it's like winning some competition, which they're familiar with. I've won other competitions, and they're like, well, congratulations. They didn't know how, and they still don't know how huge that was. And for non-bridge players, for people who don't know, like, it's hard to convey the magnitude of what happened.
Yeah.
The rush is hard to explain, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So in going into the last match, what was your, what was the status of who did you play in the last match?
You asked me all these hard questions. I think we played Ida and Josh's team, Sally Mextraw's team in the last match. And we lost by one or won by one.
So you were clearly leading. Were you leading going into the last?
We were leading the whole day.
Yeah.
And we didn't blitz the last match, but we both, here's what happened. We were playing different teams, and us winning the event by 1 imp rested on me missing a slam. I did not bid a slam. That was, if I was thinking at all, I could have bid. And so we won our match, whatever. And if Ida's team had bid this slam also, because we were playing Duke boards, they would have won the event. I think. I think that's what happened. So neither of us bid this slam, and then we ended up winning by carryover, essentially, 1 imp.
Never going to be a Platinum Life Master with that kind of result.
That's true. At the time when I won this, I didn't even know what a Platinum Life Master was, and someone made this joke. And then they had to explain to me what a Grand Life Master was.
How many master points do you have?
Around 4,000, I guess.
Wow.
Not many, I know.
Are you still eligible for 10Ks?
No. So since they passed this new rule that if you've won an open event, you can't play limited events. So I can't play any limited event at an NABC, and if I play at a regional, I tell everyone I have 10,000 points.
Oh, you get to tell them that because you won the...
Right, and it's like just for the purposes of creating a bracket or for pair flights and stuff like that. I don't actually have that.
Right.
It's like totally fake, but what you gonna do?
Who were you supposed to play the Columbus with?
I was supposed to play with Gary Donner.
And were you playing in the Vanderbilt?
Well, our plan was to play the platinum pairs and then the mixed pairs, but we were open to seeing what teammates we could get for the Vanderbilt. It was all very up in the air, but we were going to play pairs. We didn't have a team or anything. So over the weekend, we were going to play with Christina Madsen and Yoko Sabo in the Swiss. But alas, none of that came to fruition.
Yeah. I saw you were at a regional, the 13th of March.
That was the weirdest regional ever.
Weirdest regional ever?
Right, because it was right before everything with the corona got really bad. So it was probably already scheduled to be a very small tournament the week before nationals. They had over 100 cancellations the night before the regional was set to begin. So we get there and there's hardly anyone there. There's about a section and a half to 2 sections of a pair game. There was 1 or 2 brackets in the knockouts, and there was never a full bracket in anything. And as the week went on, people just kept leaving. So at some point, I think we got to under
100 players playing the tournament, and they canceled the last 2 days of the tournament. So it ended on a Friday, and we all went home, and everyone was like trying to get to a grocery store to pick up some toilet paper, I guess, at that point. So I left Friday night. It was St. Augustine, so I drove back and got to Charlotte, and then there were no more bridge tournaments. It was quite sad.
Were you still planning on going to Columbus at that point?
Yes. Unless there was an official cancellation, I was going to go.
Wow.
Well, I think I was not alone in that.
Yeah.
I mean, what else was I going to do? Bridge is my profession, my hobby.
I know.
It's my whole life, which, you know, now that I think about it, sounds kind of a little bit unhealthy, but, you know, here we are. Well,
you're good at it, and you're fun to play with.
Some days.
I mean, I've gotten to play with you for a couple of days at a regional, and you're a great partner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That regional was. We played a pair game, and the one of our sessions felt pretty average, and we had a 60-ish, and the session that we thought was really good, we didn't score well. That's what I remember from that.
I don't remember. That was in 2018 because that was when I had to leave to go. We showed double dummy here in Charlottesville that week.
Right. That was Williamsburg, Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Oh. It's a cute little town.
There you go.
Oh, we had what was that thing we had at dinner? The ice cream peripherals or something like that?
Profiteroles?
Yes, they were great.
I don't remember where we ate.
I don't know. It's so random what you remember from these tournaments. I'm sure I have a picture of that dessert on my phone somewhere.
You never had a profiterole before?
No, it's just I had, but I don't know. Sometimes you remember desserts, and you know, sometimes you remember the main course. I just from those 2 days we played, that was the most memorable thing that you know.
So going back to 2008, you're at this junior championship. You meet all these U.S. players, so then you're just launched in bridge.
So in 2008, I didn't really hang out with any of the U.S. players. I saw them around. They were on my floor. But I didn't really hang out with any of them until the next junior tournament, which was in Turkey, Istanbul, 2009.
And you were still representing Pakistan at this point?
It was kind of weird because I was asked to play on the U.S. girls team, and then I said I couldn't go because of summer school. I was starting college early and whatnot, and I ended up not doing that. And about 2 weeks before the tournament was starting, the same people I played in 2008 were like, let's go. So that was fun to explain.
I love that the Pakistanis can just organize a team at the drop of a hat to show up for the Junior World Championship.
Yeah, because why not? Bad at scheduling in advance, but when they set our mind to something, we make it happen.
And were you a lot better the next year? Had you spent a lot of time playing bridge in the interim?
I'm sure that after China, I spent at least 5 hours a day on BridgeBase, every day.
Oh my gosh!
All throughout 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. I must have logged over 50 boards a day.
You quarantined, you had nothing on quarantine.
No, it was just, school was not hard, and so that's all I did. I finished my schoolwork, and then I played a bunch of bridge on BridgeBase.
And who would you play with?
Random people. I didn't know anyone. I would just play with random people and see what felt good, what worked out. Did I get a good result? Did I get a one?
So you would literally go on to BridgeBase and it would say, you would click take me to a table with like 3 people there?
Right. And at some point I ended up like playing with the same people. I think at that point, around 2009 or 10, Valerie Westheimer was doing some junior stuff, just world juniors, not even just U.S. juniors. And she was setting up young players and having them play and doing like some kind of commentary. So I got involved in that. And I met a whole bunch of other younger players and also players that I met in China and Turkey. And so I just kept building a base of people that I eventually became very close with.
Mm.
But yeah, at the start, it was just all random. I didn't know anyone. I didn't try and talk to anyone. I just played and did the Bridge Masters and all that stuff.
And now here you are, all these years later, organizing team matches, 10 team matches a week on BridgeBase.
This is my home base. I'm coming full circle, really. Before I was the one just trying to get in on the action and then creating the action. It's quite fun.
We lost our match today.
Oh.
Yeah, I did some bad things.
What happens in bridge?
Gosh.
I'm sure.
How come you didn't? How come you didn't play?
Well, honestly, I took the day off so I could make samosas.
Samosas.
It's like an Indian fritter. It's so good.
Mmm.
And there are various flavors. Today I decided to make a potato samosa, and gonna have it for dinner. But it's like an all-day affair when you make Indian food. So I took a break from BBO today.
How'd you get to be on the Zimmerman team?
So I had no game.
Common theme.
Not a theme. I had a set game with a set team, but my partner got sick, and so it just ended up unraveling at the very last minute. So I decided the day before the event I was either going to play with friends if I could organize 4 of them, or just take the day off. And so 5 minutes before 1 o'clock, the day the event was supposed to start, one of my friends calls and said, "You need to come downstairs. Zimmerman is looking for a person to play with." So came downstairs in my pajamas, and they're like, "Okay, you're on this team." And so I played half with Pierre and half with Multan, and I played the whole first session with no agreement and in my pajamas.
What?
Yeah.
Where was this?
This was San Francisco.
They didn't make the day 2 of the Reisinger.
They did not make day 2 of the Reisinger. And actually, one of my very close friends, Sina Booth Thompson, she's the one who recommended me to this team, and they at the last minute didn't know what. So it was just totally random that I got on this team, and so that was the first session of that event.
And how did they only have one woman at that point?
Yeah, they only had the wife of one of the players, and their whole team is a bunch of dudes, right? So they needed a girl. So after playing the first session, went and showered, and then I met Multan for dinner to go over our card. And
so you were playing all the boards.
I was playing all of the boards, half and half. And so we went over our card, and we had some good results, some bad results. Some things I did were great. Some things I did, they were not so great.
I think the thing that I saw because remember I was like, when I texted you, I was like, have you won haven't you won another big event? I think what the thing that I noticed was that you played with Joe Grew. And I was like, wow, like that's like a pretty big, I mean, like if I were you, for example, which I'm not, but like if I were playing like mixed with Joe Grew, you know, for the World Championships, like that's pretty sweet.
I mean, you're right. It was getting opportunities like that, being asked and just being thought of from players like that. It is the highest compliment.
I mean, Joe Grew is really good. He is really good at bridge. I've gotten to play a little bit of not that much, but a little bit of rubber with him. And he'll claim, like he claims on defense, like with like three. I mean, like it's just, and it's impressive to me at least that like just how aware. Like I was thinking about people. You know, I asked him about a hand in San Francisco, and like he's just you know he's good. He's really good.
He's more than good. I mean, there's a reason these guys win everything. It's not just so winning requires a certain amount of luck, I guess, but when you win so consistently, it's a testament for sure.
Like how did he ask you specifically?
He basically said that, you know, maybe Mahaffey's going to do a team, and he asked me who I wanted to play with, and he mentioned it was like between a couple of players, but none of them happened to be American.
You mean for his partner?
Yeah, for his partner.
So he texted you this, called you, said it in person. Like how did it shake out?
It was a call, I guess, and a text. It was a mixture of things. He's basically like, "Are you available?" And I said, "Yes."
And so Mahaffey had spoken to him, or Lev had spoken to him about playing on Mahaffey's team.
Yeah, and basically he needed a partner, so he was the fixture. And he got to pick who he wanted, and he picked me.
Mm.
Playing with him was awesome. It was just a different experience, like the way he thinks about bridge and how he wants his partner to think, and, you know, how he bids, where to be aggressive, where to not be aggressive. It was really fun to play with him.
Like, can you give me some examples of how he felt, like what he taught you?
So, being a little bit more aggressive, not vulnerable, and even not vulnerable versus not vulnerable. People think of all like the big swings that you can get from like saving or preempting and stuff like that, but there are a bunch of little swings to win too, like part score swings, and you know, you taught me a lot about opening one no trump, even if your hand doesn't look very one no trumpy.
You mean you just open one no trump all the time?
Not all the time, but so for example, I remember one hand very clearly. I was in third seat, everyone was light, and it went two passes to me, and I opened a diamond with a 13 count instead of a one no trump. We played 14 to 16 non-vulnerable, and I did it because I wanted a diamond lead, and I wasn't sure if we were going to end up declaring or whatever. And nothing bad happened on the hand. Like, our opponents were going to compete to 2 of a major, 3 of a major, and make it.
Yeah.
Disregarding the whole result, he was like, you know, maybe you want to open a no trump on this hand because it's quite preemptive, and it's not always easy for your opponents to bid over it. You know, like maybe someone with the 5-card majors, 5-3-3-2 or 5-4-2-2, and just can't bid. And they're close for 140.
Right.
And it's not even that you make one no trump. Like maybe you go down 1 or 2 and it's 50 or 100 and they're going plus 110.
Mm. So how are you doing on social distancing?
In social distancing?
Yeah.
Just don't leave the house.
What about when you have to go to the store?
The stores are relatively
empty these days.
Yeah.
It's very easy to keep space. It's a strange time. Like, you're looking, and people, you can tell also, some people who are very cognizant of it and are actively trying to practice social distancing versus people who are just like, whatever.
I know.
I mean, it's a very mixed bag of people you can come across, ranging from like, oh my God, this is the end of the world, to this is just another Tuesday.
It said in the research that you have stuff. Let me see. Hold on. I have professional goals I'd like to achieve that will take time away from bridge. Is that still true?
When did I say that? That seems like another lifetime. Does that answer your question?
Oh man, I hated that you and Warner advanced out of the KOs in the trials, and my team did not.
Well, it could have just as easily been your team.
No, we were horrible. We were DFL last.
Well, so the trials last year are interesting. We were leading against Cran for a long time, and then we just went kaput the last quarter.
I remember that. You guys made a strong showing.
Yeah, it was fun. Played good bridge up until the 30 boards. Apparently that matters.
How many boards? It was a 120 board match?
Yeah.
So after 90 boards, you were in the lead?
Yeah.
By how much?
20-ish.
Wow. Did you smell it?
Well, let's just say every time we went in was surprising.
What do you mean? Like before, leading up to that?
Well, so, we were playing a very good team.
Yeah.
And
no sponsor, right?
No sponsor, just heads up. You don't expect to win we didn't expect to win some of the games we won.
Yeah.
It was just one of those kind of days. Like, maybe we got to a different game that was better, or maybe sometimes we collected a number when we weren't supposed to. Maybe sometimes some agreements were forgotten that worked out in our favor.
You guys forgot the agreements, or they forgot the agreement?
Well, that part is not so relevant.
Was this Cran playing with Vince and
yeah,
and Hinsey playing with Granger? What were they? What was the demeanor? I mean, because Cran is an affable guy for sure. Like he's a lovely man. Like
playing against Cran and Vince is always fun. They're a pleasure at the table, very fun and easygoing. So everything that happened at the table was, the atmosphere at the table was awesome. No matter who was doing better or worse at any given point. Yeah.
So their demeanor, you never sensed that their demeanor was sort of stiffening because of the fact that you guys were beating them?
No. They were always low-key and mellow, and then at some point when it got worse for them, we switched opponents. So sometimes we were playing against Greg and Hinsey. Greg and Green and David.
Yeah.
And their demeanor is different. They're way more serious.
Oh man, I was rooting for you guys. I mean, I
was rooting for me too.
Yeah, that would have been a sweet upset.
It would have been a good swindle, but next year, maybe this year, we'll see.
Yeah, the trials were supposed to be in May, weren't they?
They are not officially canceled, so they're still in May as of now. But they'll probably be canceled or put online in some fashion.
Are you playing?
So I was going to play with Mark Warner like I did last year.
Yeah.
but he's a doctor. So as you can imagine, he's a bit busy.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I'm playing the open trials, but if the trials happen, I do have a mixed team.
And who were your teammates, you and Mark's teammates going to be?
We hadn't decided. We were going to see what was going on at the Spring Nationals and sort of make a decision. We might have played with the same team last year, if possible. We might have done something different. It was all very up in the air.
We have one question left.
Okay.
It's my new standard question. Are you better than Kalita?
That's your standard question.
That's the new standard question, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to say no.
No?
I mean, maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
I mean, how many things has that guy won again?
He's won some stuff. He wins stuff. Yeah.
So it's a good standard. It's a good standard question. I approve.
Anyway, he's yeah. So that's the new standard question. Yeah, one standard question. So have you played some with Finn Kolesnik?
Yeah, I played with Finn at a regional last year.
Oh, just as a friend?
Yeah.
Are you coaching juniors or something, or how did that come to pass?
Well, I was scheduled to play with a sponsor, and the sponsor could not come to our regional. So I went to the regional anyway and asked Finn if he wanted to come play a little bit, and he said yeah.
Where was the regional?
Puerto Vallarta.
Oh.
So we played like 4 days. And he's a very good sport and a great player.
Yeah?
He's super fun. I was in vacation mode a little bit, so one of the days at some point, I did tell him that he had to treat me like a super novice player that he needed to hog the dummy. That's what I told him. And true to form, he was opening 1-no trump with 6-card majors and just ensuring that I was going to be dummy. And I was a marvelous dummy, let me tell you that. So he's a great kid, great player, and super fun. That's my assessment of Finn.
Gotcha. He says you're a beast.
He's being too kind. We had some adventures at our table for sure. I will say I never doubled any making part scores.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. He can't say the same.
How many did he double?
Yeah, there were a couple. But he takes his tricks, and he's so keen on the game. It was so refreshing to play with a younger player that just was a sponge. They just want all the information on all the hands.
Wow.
And it's not like he's not set in any point of views. He just wants to know all of the different point of views and then settle on what works with his style.
That's a really nice compliment.
Yeah, he's already pretty spectacular. His results in San Francisco were awesome, but
yeah,
he's got a great upward trajectory. Going to leave me behind in no time.
All right, Anam. It's great to talk to you.
You too. Thanks for having me. See you on BBO.
All right. Enjoy your dinner.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Setting Trick. We recorded this conversation over the phone, and the sound quality really isn't up to the standard that I want for the show. So it's another learning experience for us. We really appreciate hearing from listeners. I was playing on BridgeBase the other day, and my opponent in a speedball told me that he loved the Setting Trick. And I'm so grateful for feedback like that. It's fun to produce these episodes. It's fun to have conversations with my bridge friends and to share them with you all. So if you like the show, please share it with a fellow bridge player, and be safe, be well.